Hi everybody, my name's Stuart Hamm. Welcome to my Hot Licks instructional videotape. This video is going to be basically in 3 parts. The first part I'm going to be talking about hand positioning and some finger warm-ups you can do to make your playing easier and your fingers stronger. The second section is going to deal with some slapping techniques, and the third part is going to be in the tapping or two-handed technique. One good way to start off a hand exercise, this is something that I learned from Carol Kay. I believe it's a classical piano technique. It's good for independence and finger strength on your left hand. What you do is you make your fist, and then you put out your first and your third finger at the same time. Now, it may hurt a little bit, but if you keep doing it, it won't hurt as much. Then you put these 2 fingers down, put up your second and fourth finger, and try to stretch it as much as you can. And then, if you get to the point where you can do it quickly like this, you'll be halfway there. Now, it may be hard at first, but I guarantee you that if you keep practicing it, you'll get it. Another basic starting exercise I like to use is exercise where your hands are playing on all 4 strings to get used to pressing them all down at the same time, because a lot of my students and people that I teach and see play, when they play even a scale, say a G major scale, if you don't have good hand position, your fingers are going to be flying all over. I see people playing like that, right? Now, it's much easier if you have your hand in the correct position, which is your thumb in the back of the neck and your hands curved over as much as possible. Because you see, if your hands are all right there and position them, all you have to do is press your hands right down. Like that. And another good thing to play, here's a fingering I have for a 2-octave scale that facilitates moving up and down in the neck very well. And then also, when you're doing this, try to remember your hand positioning at all times. It's not something that you can teach or learn in a day. However, it's something that if you're mindful of and keep practicing it, in the end, it's going to help you with your playing. So here's my fingering for a 2-octave G major scale. The thing that's good about that is you see the way your hands slide, and when they slide, makes it easy to move up and down the neck, and you can play it. Because basically what you want to do is you want to be able to get rid of all your technical limitations so you can play whatever you hear in your head. It's easier said than done, obviously, but this thing of hand positioning is very important, and this is something that can help you out. Another way to help you out jumping around the neck is the use of open strings in playing arpeggios. For instance, if you're playing a C triad outline, you can play the C on the A string, your E on your D string, and if you play the G on the open G, then your left hand is free to jump up and play the other part of the arpeggio up top there. So here it is. Also, after you play the open G, you can jump up to the C on the A string and play a few more notes. You can also do this for the G scale using the open D for your jump point. So here's an exercise you can do that combines both of them that will help you get used to this technique of using the open strings to jump your hand position to the next position smoothly. There are just something you can work on, and I hope it helps. Before I continue and show you some more scales and arpeggios you can do using the open strings, I assume they're all in tune, but at this point I'd like to give you a chance to tune up with me and make sure we're in tune. First, your top G. Your D. The A. And the E. Now the arpeggios I showed you before, the C major and G major arpeggios using the open strings, you can also do those for the minors. So what I'm going to do right now is basically the same exercise, but using the G minor and C minor. And it would go like this. Another scale you can do is, this is going to be a F major 6 scale, and we're going to use the 6th, which would be the D, to jump our hand position. And when you get this down, you can play all these fast. And this one you can also do in the minor, still using the major 6th, the D natural, but instead of playing the A, playing the A flat. And that would go like this. Another good way to increase your hand strength and to get used to having your hands close to the fretboard at all time is to play some chords. So right now I'd like to show you a few stretches and chords that you can do to strengthen your hand, and also they sound good. So we're going to use C this time, and the first is going to be a C minor 9 chord. You take your first finger and play the C on the E string. You basically want to bar your first finger all the way across to hit the E flat on the G string. Then you're playing the 5th with your 3rd finger, and the 9th with your 4th finger. And there you have the C minor 9 chord. And if you want to make that the major chord, you just take your 2nd finger, which is right here, and put it down there on the E natural. Now that's a pretty tough one, getting your finger to come over here like this. It has to bend over. But if you work on it, you'll get it, and it's very good for the hand strength. Another exercise, just to coordinate the two hands, your right hand, finger plucking, and the left hand, is an arpeggio of a C pentatonic scale. And this goes like this. One more time. Coming back down, it would be. Notice again that if you have your hand right in position, then it makes it very easy to play. But if your hands are all over the place and jumping around, it's going to be much harder. So, as I say, when you're practicing these scales, or when you warm up, again, I think it's very important to work on the hand positioning, which should be the hands arched as much as possible, hitting the strings with your fingertips, and your thumb firmly in back of the neck. So I hope that stuff can be of some help to you. And right now I'd like to move on to the second part of the tape, which is going to be a section on finger popping and slapping. Funk bass, everyone loves it. Everyone wants to learn how to play it. What I'm going to do now is show you a little bit about what I was just playing and show you a few different kind of tricks that I was using that will help you in your development of your funk bass playing technique. One of the main things when you're doing the fast double time stuff, there's something that I kind of call a hammer-on slap. And the basic theory behind this is that you're getting a sound from your left hand on hitting against the strings. It's not really a note, it's more of a ghost note. Now, a regular hammer-on would be, say, from an E, a D to an E. This is in essence almost the same, except instead of actually hitting the E note with your little finger, you're using all your hands, all your fingers to slap against the neck and get noise. I try to bend my fingers and hit the strings with this part of the hand right here. You get the best sound out of it. So one way you can start by working on this is a triplet exercise between the thumb and this hand, and it would go like this. Just a triplet with the first and third note of the triplet hit with your thumb, with the second one with your hand against the neck. You get a better sound if you try to mostly hit the bottom two strings. You get a better sound than if you're trying to do it up top there. So, right now I'd like to show you a lick that I use that incorporates this, that you can work on, and that should help you out. First I'll play the lick fast. This is how it's going to sound after you've checked out the tape for a while and practice it yourself. So slowly, the way this lick works is you're starting with the hammer-on from the D to the E. Then you're hitting your open E string twice with your thumb. And then slapping. And then doing a hammer-on from the A to the B. So what you'll have is and if you have a hard time at first trying to get the notes to come out, don't worry about it. And if you find yourself hearing the notes a little too much that you would like I say, just work on trying to hit with the middle part of your finger instead of the fingertips, and you'll get that muted sound. So let's try that lick again, and we'll start it slow, and then we'll try to speed it up a little bit. And when you're practicing this stuff, it's important not to get to try to work on it too fast, because when you're trying to learn something new, it's you always want to play it flashy and make it look good, but if you try to play it too fast, too soon, it's just going to end up sloppy and sound like garbage. So even though it's frustrating, I greatly emphasize that you should do all this stuff slow, and if you keep at it, I guarantee, do it slowly, that after a few days you'll have it under your fingers and you'll just be funking up a storm. So here we go again. Now a little faster. And why not a little faster? So that's a good basic lick that I think you can work on. And part of my aspirations for doing this tape is that I just like to show you some of the techniques I use to play this style, and not necessarily for you to not only just pick up my licks, but to give you the capabilities of working on stuff on your own. So these are just kind of the tools that you can build your own stuff with. Now, as far as right hand technique goes when popping, with your thumb, I try to hit right on the side there. If you can see, I have quite a good callus there. And you try to play pretty much up as close to the bottom of the neck here with the neck ends. You get the best sound. And you want your hand to be fairly rigid, almost like a pick, and you want to hit the string and then let it bounce off so it gets a good nice ring. Yeah, just like that. So you want to almost do a downward motion, because if you just hit it straight flat, your thumb's not really going to have room to bounce off it. So that's the way to do it. Now, another way you can use this technique of slapping with your left hand on the neck is to get a real fast triplet kind of a lick, which just sounds like this. So let's take that apart and see how I'm doing that real slow. And again, don't worry if that doesn't sound real good at first, because maybe for some of you this will be a whole new ballpark, stuff you never tried before, and it'll be frustrating, but just stick with it. So this is a triplet, an E with a D on the top. So the first note will be pulling the D string. Then you're going to slap with the left hand, and then using your thumb to hit the E on the A string. So you have pull, slap, and thumb. See? So let's try that together. And again, you can get that going. You really sound cool. So, and also, don't worry about too much if you're not getting the E there to speak out. When you hit it with your thumb, don't worry about it too much, because a lot of times when you're playing this fast, it's more of an effect than just, you know, the key notes will speak out. Another exercise you can do doing that is a triplet, but from the bottom up, that you would use to accent or pick up a note. So you're going. It's basically the same lick, but backwards. So let's see how that works. What you're doing is the first note of the triplet is a pickup. The first note, you'll be on your E on your A string, is with the thumb. Then you slap with your left hand, hit with the thumb again, and then pull up on the D. And see, when you get it fast, it becomes like one motion. So that's a good one. And here's another lick we can do that combines the two of them, which will be, when you get it down, and like I said, it's basically just a mixture of the two. The first half of it is pull up, snap, left hand, thumb, and then thumb, slap, thumb, and then pull on your back to the top. So let's try that slowly at first. And again, when you get that going, it'll sound like this. And all this stuff, when you're right hand, try to keep it as fluid as you can. As you see when I'm doing this lick, it's almost a circular motion. You know, you want to relax on all the stuff. If your hands tense up, there's no way you're going to be able to play anything. So watch my right hand again and see how it kind of flows through the whole thing. Another way you can play triplets is straight down the neck, say in octaves. And this is just a good exercise to get your right hand used to the roll back and forth, which is what you want to do. Another part of like this, the smooth movement. And it's like, say, going down on the scale of and you'll be playing triplets. So basically you're going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Thumb, snap, thumb. May sound like a rudimentary exercise, but then when you get it going, sounds pretty good. Another way to get that effect is almost a flamenco kind of thing, and that'll sound like this. The essence of this is, like I said, your left hand, you're just barring a straight across on the E, B, and an E, root fifth root. Hitting the low note with your thumb, second note with your first finger, third note with your third finger, middle finger. This is going to probably hurt a while at first, so I wouldn't overdo it, because if you get too bad blisters, you're going to be out of commission for a while. An important thing I try to do with this is, even though you keep the thumb loose, try to keep the two fingers rigid, like they're almost like plucks, or say a finger picker would have, you know, those metal picks on his fingers. It's a real roll action. You want to slap down with your thumb, and then roll your hand over, and let these two fingers that are positioned underneath the strings there just pop them up. So you're not so much as actually plucking each note with these two fingers. You're just keeping them in position slightly underneath the string, so that when you pull your hand over, they're going to stay straight and make the sound come out. So let's try this slow, and this is one of those licks, again, it's harder slow than fast, but you have to work on it that way. So that's a good lick to work on. Another thing you can add to that lick is, after the last triplet, is to bring the top E down to a D, and after you pull up with your third finger, come hit back down with your thumb. So you're almost using your third finger and thumb like two different picks. So that lick's going to work like this, slowly. So there's my section on funk playing, and I hope you get something out of it, and I hope you find some stuff that can help make you a better funk bass player. Real popular thing now is the two-handed or tapping technique. A lot of it goes back to, I think, the Chapman stick. I'm sure people have played it before that. But it's basically using that style onto a guitar or a bass. Of course, Stanley Jordan has made this very popular now. It's something that I've been messing around with for quite a few years. I can't say that it's something I came up with totally on myself, but I've tried to become as little influenced by the other people that do it as possible. So what I'm going to do in this section is to give you some basic starting techniques on how to get your hands to get used to playing the strings like that. A few exercises on contrapuntal kind of stuff, get your two hands doing some other things, and some different applications. Now, of course, there's ways you can do it is like I was doing before, where you lay down a bass line with your left hand on the bottom strings, and with your right hand, play some kind of a melody on top there. Or you can do a thing where your right hand is playing some kind of a pattern on the top, and you're playing a melody underneath it. You can use both your hands together to get arpeggios. And another way you can do it, which is something that I like to do, is by working up piano pieces, two classical pieces I've worked out, and towards the end I'm going to take a piece that I worked out and showed you exactly how I went working it out, and show you the first few bars and so how you can do it, but this is the kind of thing that you can do with that. So for many of you that maybe haven't started working on this technique too much, of course the basic idea is that to get the note out, instead of fretting it with your left hand and plucking it with your right hand, you're actually just tapping right down the string to get the note to come out. Do it with both hands. So the first thing let's work on is just getting our fingers used to doing this. Now the main problem you're going to have is, besides just doing the whole thing, is with your little finger, because it's very weak. It's not easy to get it out. So let's start by, with our left hand, playing a C on the E string, the first finger, and with the right hand, playing the C on the A string with your first finger. So let's try to just get used to doing that in unison. Now for the next exercise, let's play the same notes, but on every beat, switching to the next finger. So first we do it with both first fingers, then on the C with both second fingers, both third fingers, and both fourth fingers. Now when doing this, you want your left hand position to be pretty much the same, curved. Sometimes you even have to bring your hand farther up, more up over the neck, so you can get enough downward motion to get the strings to come out. With your right hand, you want it to be pretty much free, not really anchored on anything, so you have the freedom with the hand. Now let's try, starting with the first finger on the C again, left hand on the E string, right hand on the A string, and let's just go up chromatically with each finger. You can see how hard the little finger is to do. And after you get where you can do them in unison, try doing them opposite each other, say each a quarter note. Next thing let's do is let's try doing a C major scale with both of the hands. First, let's try it with just the left hand. Starting the C on the E string with your second finger, just try running the scale almost like a hammer-on, but just tapping down. Now try it with the right hand, starting on the C string, on the C note up here on the A string. Okay, now that's going to be hard. It's something, when I was first working on this stuff, it took me a long time to get used to doing it, and not that I actually have it totally down now, but like I said, if you just try to keep some kind of patience and practice it slowly, eventually it's going to come to you if that's what you want to do. Now let's try both right hand and left hand together playing the C major scale. Good. Now let's try the same thing like we did before, alternating the two hands. Very good. Now here's an arpeggio that you can do using both hands. This is going to be a C major arpeggio, and it's going to sound like this. Fingering for this will be with your left hand. Again, you see the top C is really hard to get with your little finger, and it's easy to cheat. In fact, I do it a lot of times with my third finger. It's a little stronger, but I would definitely suggest to people that are starting to work on this technique to go ahead and try to get that little finger working from the start, because if you can work it in from the beginning, it's just going to be another factor. So let's try this again, just a little faster. You can do the same thing for the C minor scale, just making the E natural and E flat. Good. Now here's some exercises to try to get your hands used to doing contrapuntal things, different things with each hand. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take the left hand in the key of G, and we're going to set a pattern of just root fifth. Like, say, half notes. Then we're going to start running with our right hand up here, starting with the G on the D string with your second finger, a G scale. So when you put the two together, we'll start by doing whole notes in the top first. now we'll do half notes. And then you can even do it a little quicker, quarter notes in the right hand. Very good. Now another thing you can do is with the right hand playing thirds. Still doing the same thing in the left hand. We're going to start with the G and the third, and the A and the C, and the B and the D. There's different ways to play these thirds. I know some people play them the hand like this. However, when playing the minor third, I like to use my thumb. It's something that I found when working on some of these classical tunes. It's an extra appendage in there. So try to get that thumb to that. Again, it's going to be very hard at first. It took me a long time to get it down. Not that I have it down, but that's one way you can do it. So let's try this. As you get more adept, you might want to try to spruce up the left hand a little bit. This is good just to get your two hands used to doing two different things. I was lucky I played piano when I was younger, so a lot of that technique still applies here. Going to get into a bit of a more percussive use of the two-handed technique. This is a lick that I use off the song Sexually Active from my upcoming album, Radio Free Album, on Relativity Records. Now, this lick uses a lot of doubling the same notes, and it's going to sound like this. And this is a real fun way to use this technique because basically everyone can move their fingers real fast, and if you can figure out where to put them while you're playing, it can sound really fast. So the first part of this lick let's work on is like this. So you're playing the same note here as here. So the lick is. So you can practice that for a while. Metronome always helps. And then you can start playing it a little faster. And you can also add the little pinky on top to hit the B. So now this lick would be. So there's a good lick you can work on, and hopefully when you get these techniques down, you can work up your own stuff. Now lastly, I like to talk a little about things I like to do is taking piano music, classical pieces, and working them out on the bass. So I like to play the first little part of the Bach's Prelude in C, the first piece from the Well-Tempered Clavier, and then I'm going to show you exactly how to play the first 4 bars in the booklet so you can work on that at home, and I hope it inspires you to pick up some music and try to work out the rest of it on your own. So first, I'll play a little bit of the piece. Now let's look at how I play that first part. With your left hand, it's on the first chord, you're just outlining the C triad. With your right hand, playing the C and the E on the top. So there's the hand positioning for the first bar, and the rhythmically, it will go like this. Now for the second bar, your left hand is going to be playing the C and the D, and your right hand is going to be playing up here. And rhythmically, it'll sound like this. For the third chord, your left hand plays the B and the D, and the right hand, you're playing like this. And this is another time where the thumb comes into use. And like I said, it could be a little hard to work on. It's still not the easiest thing for me, but it's the best way to get the notes to come out. And the fourth bar is the same as the first. So let's try those first 4 bars again. Very good. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed this tape, and I hope that you've gotten some new techniques out of it, and it's inspired you to practice and just work up any new things you can. In closing, I'd just like to say that there's no substitute for practice and hard work, and that if you set your mind to it, you can do anything. So if these techniques are really hard at first, don't worry about it at all. Just keep practicing slowly without rushing to make them. You know, obviously, like I said before, you want to play them fast and sound good, but I would like to, again, firmly stress to just take your time in the beginning and learn the techniques flawlessly, or just as well as you can, so that in the end, when you do play it fast, it'll be clean and it will sound good. So thank you very much, and I'll see you soon. I'd like to finish now with another song from my album, Radio Free Albumeth, on Relativity Records. And this piece is entitled, Flow My Tears, the Policeman Said.
Hot Licks, the world leader in video and audio music instruction, now helps you be the best you can be with lessons by some of the biggest stars in music today. No matter what instrument you play, regardless of your level, you simply can't help but improve with these incredible jam-packed tapes. You'll learn guitar from stars such as legendary virtuoso Eric Johnson on his 90-minute earth-shattering video, Total Electric Guitar, or the amazing Vinnie Moore on his 2 incredibly hot videos, Advanced Lead Techniques, and an even more advanced speed, accuracy, and articulation. Vivian Campbell of Dio and Whitesnake fame has a lead guitar masterclass that'll blow you away. And Bruce Kulick, Kiss's fiery and inventive guitarist, has an incredible video aimed at the beginner-level player. Surely all of us can learn something from studio legend and master Tommy Tedesco as he takes us through the paces in playing guitar for a living. And Arlen Roth, founder and producer of Hot Licks tapes, and the man who taught actor Ralph Macchio from scratch for the film Crossroads, has 6 great videos, including Chicago Blues Guitar, Slide Guitar, and Hot Country Lead. And speaking of hot, the one and only Danny Gatton has an all-new video for Hot Licks that'll simply knock you out with its red-hot information. In the jazz department, we have a wonderful solo jazz guitar lesson with the inimitable Joe Pass, 2 great videos from Emily Rimler, contemporary guitar improvisation with Jackie King, and country jazz guitar with Joe Dalton. Michael Fath's video on progressive classical rock is a true masterpiece, and Marty Friedman opens up many new doors with his exotic metal guitar tape. We pride ourselves in the blues idiom, and along with Arlen Roth, blues masters such as Lonnie Mack and Mick Taylor show you how it's really done. In the classical and pop guitar field, we have Effortless Classical Guitar by William Cannongeiser, renowned soloist and player of the classical guitar parts in the film Crossroads, as well as a masterful work by the great Jorge Morel on composition and arranging for the guitar. If you're a bass player or aspire to be one, we have videos that offer something for everyone, such as the Masterclass with none other than John Entwistle of The Who, one of rock's all-time most influential players. Rudy Sarzo of Whitesnake shows you some of his hottest secrets on his lesson, and David the Beast Spitz of Black Sabbath and Impellitteri gives a great rock beginner's bass lesson. Super Chops for Bass by Beaver Felton offers beginners just what the title claims, and R&B legend Jerry Jamot has created a true video masterclass that no complete bassist should be without. In the truly contemporary bass department, the brilliant Stuart Hamm, solo artist and bassist with Joe Satriani, has a video entitled Slap, Pop, and Tap for the bass that covers all techniques imaginable, including his incredible 2-handed tapping style. While we're on the subject, one of the true masters of the polyphonic bass, Chell Benner, has created a video strictly for the 2-handed style. Our drum lessons includes a rock drum soloing and double bass workout with the legendary Tommy Aldridge, as well as a beginning-oriented master video with rock great Carmine Appice. There's also an incredible drumming essentials video with none other than Tico Torres of Bon Jovi, which covers everything from exercises to recording secrets. In the keyboard department, David Bryan, also of Bon Jovi, gives an incredibly intense video lesson that deals with all subjects important to rock keyboardists, from classical technique to equipment. For banjo beginners, we have a terrific bluegrass video with Fred Sokolow, and there's even an instant blues harmonica video with David Harp. And no matter what instrument you play, Greg Irwin, who dazzled everyone on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, has a finger fitness tape to help make your own playing stronger and faster. You'll find that Hot Licks videos are of the highest visual and audio quality and feature helpful items such as split screen, extreme close-ups, and even though you don't have to read music to learn from any of these tapes, most feature the music and tablature right on the screen. Don't be fooled by our imitators. Hot Licks is the original, and we are dedicated to always bringing you the best in tape musical instruction. Let the best make you better on the tapes that really teach. Hot Licks.